Okay, so the basic way to build one of these vector Wuttzit animals, and how many of y'all supposed to do? 4 of a variety or 3 of a variety or something like that? Let's say I'm just going to make a brand new one. And you can use any of these preset tools here. Like on any of these tools with the downward pointing triangle, if you click and hold on that, you can get the bedded tools under there. You just want to work with the basic tools. But one of the basic ideas I want you all to utilize is the Pathfinder tool. These animals, we're going to sort of have a auction of these animals, you guys amongst yourselves, to get the most popular, vector Wuttzit. And so do try to make your character, your creature distinctive. Make it just better than basic and all that stuff. But one of the primary tools we're going to use to simplify these designs is going to be the Pathfinder tool. If you don't see the Pathfinder tool, you can go to Window, Pathfinder. That will get the palette for the Pathfinder active. And basically it's a tool we can use to combine vector elements and also separate vector elements. So right now, if I wanted to join all of those together, let me make a copy of it first before I do that. If I wanted to join all of those together, I'm going to use the Unite tool, and that really simplifies the design. But even after that, I can come back on top of this and put other forms on it. Notice about this vector form right here, it's got a black outline and it's got a diagonal slash through the fill, which represents it has no fill right now. So if you want to put a fill in that, select that. Whichever is on top is going to be the one that you're going to be assigning a color to. I'd prefer if you really just concentrate on the fills right now. So if I want to give that a different color fill, I'm just going to click there. But after I do that, I can come back on top of that with other shapes. And I prefer if y'all make these sort of simple as possible. So if I actually wanted to cut these holes into this, because think of this if it's a piece of vinyl, one piece of material, these might be good as negative spaces instead of actually adding another color to it. If this was going to go in a window or something, of course the window or the surface that it's on is going to act as one of the colors too. So let's say I wanted to cut those out. Again, I'm going to select everything, go back to my Pathfinder, and this time use divide. Anytime you use that command, you're going to have to ungroup the result. So right click, ungroup, and then with my main selection tool, I can get that space there, take it out, or do this. I can shrink this object. When I shrink this object, I'm going to hold down Shift. That's going to lock the proportions of it. Then I can reposition that. That can be cut pretty easily with a vinyl cutting machine. But again, also some of the other ways you can do some variations on the objects that you make. If I select all of that and go to Effect, one of the primary ways you can do it is with your Warp tool, just to get some visual sort of representations, because a lot of the stuff you do by default in Illustrator is going to be very geometric. So if you want to make it go beyond that geometry a little bit, whoa, let's see. You can sort of look through these to see if any of them might do anything that may or may not be a little bit more interesting with the character. And let's say if I wanted to go with this one, and I asked you guys last time, what's the problem with the way that this looks? You see we get this difference between, anytime you use a lot of these effects, they're rendered. They're not actual. So we want to make it actual. The way we're going to make it actual is going to be an object command. So I'm going to go to Object and Expand Appearance. And that way, it's literal and not just a rendered look. His feet aren't level. That bothers me. So I'm going to actually use the Rectangle tool to put a box here. Then I'm going to use my Pathfinder, select both these elements. Again, I'm going to use my Divide command. After the divide command, ungroup it, and then I can just box select all of this and backspace or delete. Now he's got level feet, and I'm a little bit happier. Okay, so but that's it in a nutshell in terms of just some of the simple ways to build. But again, some of y'all were using the pencil tool to draw with. And let me set my pencil up so it works correctly. The pencil tool works only with the stroke color. So let's say I was going to draw something out of this. It's continuing that line every time I move it. So if I want to put a bunch of these together, I have to click off first. Then that's an active object, so I have to click off. It's the only class where you can get away with telling people to click off. Let's see. But as of right now, this is not a grouped object. It's just a bunch of segments. So the way that I can make all of these actually into an object, if you're drawing or trying to make something with this technique, and I don't suggest this technique, but it can be done, so I'm going to show you real quick. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make it have a wider stroke. Stroke is just the width of the outline. And then what I'm going to do is these elements, right now they are vector, but I need for them, if I want to work with them, I need for them to be just a photo, an image. I need them to be rasterized, a bitmap. So to do that with these selected objects, I'm going to go to Object and Rasterize. And after I rasterize it, I can vectorize it. Once Illustrator recognizes a raster image, bitmap image, I can use image trace and just use the simple default trace, and it'll take it a second. But once I do that, last step to that vectorization process is expanding it. And once you do that, you can actually work with the vectors on the object. So it is doable if you're drawing with some other technique, but I really suggest just either using the primitive shapes, or the best tool is the pen tool. If I were to draw another object, that's the wrong tool. There's the pen tool. And again, do notice which tool you're using. To start off, you do need the top bedded tool. So if I'm going to draw something with this, and this is going to look very geometric, but you can also click, hold, and drag, and that will start to bring out a little bit more organic shapes. But the goal of drawing with the pen tool is to get back around to your starting point of origination. And once you do that, it gives you a little symbol letting you know that you're back where you started. Notice that this object has neither a fill or an outline color. So if I click off, go back to my main selection tool and click off, I don't see anything, but it's still there. Control Y or Command Y is your outline mode where you can see all your vectors. But if you hit it again, it'll toggle back to your preview mode. And Illustrator's showing me 2 if I scroll over it. But I'm going to select that. And again, just click and put some sort of color there so I can see that. But this guy is very geometric. So after you draw vectors, you can adjust them with the pencil tool. If your pencil tool doesn't do this, let's see if this works. Yeah, that's working fine. But if yours doesn't work correctly, double click on that tool. Any of these tools, if you want to see sub-tools, sub-properties that you can do, sometimes if that's not working, you need to select Edit Selected Paths right here. For some reason on some of the computers that's not active. So if this doesn't work, you can do that. So that will let me redraw my vectors. I also bed it underneath the pencil is the Smooth tool. I can run that along the perimeter, and that's going to get rid of vectors. It won't redraw it like the pencil will, but if it's very sort of crunchy looking, you can use the smooth tool, but the pencil tool is really best for getting, we want some attractive little vector creatures and stuff here. Do give them eyes. Try to cut holes in them. Try to do some negative spaces in them. You can try to put patterns in them. If you know, you can put a series of shapes in it that make a pattern. Even these shapes like this, I think are perfectly fine. You guys remember the Fry Guys off of McDonald's? You know, with legs. I mean, they're perfectly charming little critters and stuff. This just needs legs or something. So just figure out how to make yours, you know, interesting and attractive and all that sort of stuff. And then we'll talk about what we're going to do with them some more later.